You're listening to Plutocracy Now. This is Joey Hornbuckle.
Brian Baisden.
Bridgman Bolger.
Sting Kirby.
Scott Brown.
January 21st, 2015, and we're going to talk about the Cowspiracy.
And right now, I'm about to piss everyone off about the Cowspiracy.
We're going to let Scott Brown go on a little
Tell
bit
us
of a
about
rant.
that Cowspiracy, Scott.
All right, so did you guys... I'm just gonna lay out a couple of facts for you guys. Actually, no, I want you to guess first. How much water do you think it takes, since we're talking about the California drought, how much water do you think it takes to go into one hamburger?
I'd say 40% of water usage is industrial farming. I'll say
One
that
hamburger, I would say 50 to 200 gallons of water.
A couple drops?
I'm going to say my cheesesteak the other day was so good.
Like, wait, when I was eating a hamburger yesterday, should I have been feeling bad about it?
Well, let's see. So, according to this little NPR article here, which actually there's been a lot of science coming out about this lately. A lot of new reports coming out last year, and the movie Cowspiracy, which is why we're talking about this. So,
this is for a quarter pound of beef.
A quarter pound of beef, 6.7 pounds of grains and forage, 52.8 gallons of drinking water, 74.5 square feet of land. It's become the number one cause. Agriculture has the number one cause of deforestation of the Amazon. So
that's a fact.
That is a fact. And all this grass-fed beef that a lot of middle-class Americans think they're getting all this healthy from, that's from burned down rainforests that they turn into grass so a bunch of cows can go and eat it, and then they export that beef all over the world.
Unless it's local grass-fed beef, you can get that at the local supermarket.
But the majority of the beef that you're eating in your grocery store is not that grass-fed beef.
Well, a lot of it
that's like a luxury portion of the market. You know, most of us are eating the grain-fed shit that they've been giving us in elementary school.
Yeah,
So I just want to make sure that what you're saying is when we make hamburgers, that should just be 100% pink slime. Like that, that's. I feel like that's the most logical proposal.
What is pink slime?
Everything.
That's why
I don't know what pink slime is. I don't know. I'm gonna say no to that. I don't know what that question meant, but
some sort of industrial.
But no, look, that man, you can't deny the huge environmental impact of animal agriculture. Even Congress is starting to say they don't want to look at it. So it's a real problem.
It is a real problem.
They're trying to have a panel. There's some. I think the administration, a couple people in the administration are trying to push, changing food guidelines to suggest people to eat less meat because of the environmental impact and because of the huge amount of carbon emissions that are associated with it. And it's,
Is it carbon emissions or methane emissions?
Methane, carbon.
Methane
because you gotta transport the beef from the slaughterhouse to the grocery store.
I mean, look, you
but
were
if I was eating bananas, would that be quantifiably different?
No, it was
for carbon dioxide.
No,
yes, because look, it would be exponentially different because you have to feed so much. This is the difference between you were saying growing broccoli, growing soybeans, and all this stuff is environmentally degrading in itself, which it is. It's true. Right. So basically humans eating, that's why population is a root problem of all this, and that's another problem that nobody's ever going to talk about.
How are you going to solve that?
Well, Monsanto is working on technology that'll increase yields, but that's
Monsanto's got it covered.
That's probably how we're going to solve it.
Well, to reduce population.
Forever though, come on, be for real. Forever though. So just forever, we live on this sphere, and forever we're gonna increase crop yields.
We're not gonna live on this. Obama said we was going to Mars, so
we got another planet.
We're going a whole other planet to fuck up. So that's the solution. That's the only solution. Because it's the only, aside from mass extinction or genocide, there's no other solution.
There's birth control. There's ways to do birth control, education, empowering women. These things have been proven in countries, third world countries, where it's been a huge economic imperative for them to do that.
Free
places in Iran,
sterilization. That's when you say birth control as a reason for
sterilization.
But some places in the world have done this.
You make it free. Yes, they have done it.
They do this. It's ongoing right now. It's for sterilization process.
I know, but that's
I knew that if we started talking about cows, it would end up with Martian colonies and birth control.
It has to. It's the only place.
It's the only solution. It is the only solution. I mean,
because we are hungry motherfuckers, we need more planets, dude. That's the only solution. You don't think maybe we could? So, but I'm saying that's impossibility. I mean,
it's not impossible.
Why? Because Elon Musk says so. He's going to put $1 billion behind it. This is what I'm saying. Is all these pipe dreams that all these billionaires are feeding you on their TED Talks, they're going to be dead way before their dreams ever get realized.
The money's still going to be alive.
I completely disagree with both of you, but I don't want to get too off topic and like talking about birth control and stuff.
Okay.
So back to
why animal agriculture is inherently more degrading than, because look, you need to feed all those crops. Half of the world's grain is used to feed cows. Yeah. Half the world's grains, and we have 10,000 people starved to death a day. And half the world's grain goes to feed cows, so we can be like, ooh, hamburger, dude. Like, that's a crazy fact, dude. It's just.
But that's the plutocracy at work, because
partially it is, but it's also people like your appetite. You know,
we have enough food. We have an overabundance of food. There's enough food on the planet for every mouth to be fed. It's not. People aren't fed because there's not enough food. People are fed because corporations.
Yeah, but look. Here's there's a study that came out a year or two ago where some researchers found that by 2050, food yields aren't going to meet population and food demand. So that's 2050. That's not that far away. And you can look that up. ScienceDaily.com, best science website.
That is on the condition that you continue the process of agriculture as it exists today. But
how's it going to change? We keep banking on all these miracle revolutions, all these green revolutions. Where are they,
let's say something. Okay, let's take a 4-acre plot of land, and instead of all this adjacent land onto it, let's add into the farm. How about we build another layer and another layer and another layer? So we have skyscrapers, greenhouses.
Skyscrapers?
Yes.
Oh,
it's realistic. Why is that unrealistic? That's sustainable.
It's unrealistic because unrealistic is
the word. Yeah, good.
Joey, why else is it unrealistic?
It's unrealistic. It's unrealistic because why is that unrealistic? Because you can have sustainable farming. There's no excuse.
So we're just gonna build infinite crop skyscrapers. But you're still.
Would you rather that than
you guys are always like
acres of land?
Look, this is one of the root problems of our whole economic paradigm is that everything banks on infinite growth. Like it's always we can't stop infinite growth. We'll build bigger skyscrapers. Monsanto's got it covered. We got the food. Yeah. Like we got more planets we can go to. Like there's never like, hey, maybe we need to calm the fuck down and quit, dude. In the last 40 years, we killed 50% of the world's wildlife, according to the World Wildlife Federation.
In the last 100, it was the last 100,
Don't believe the science. We'll just.
40 years, we killed half the world's wildlife.
It's being done now.
Well, then argue with the science then. Argue with the science.
I mean, it's not like this is impossible. It's happening. There are greenhouse factories. Nobody's doing this here.
The tractor got invented and gave us more feed. I mean, there's been a variety of technology introductions, but I think the thing is that it takes a lot of this is going to be on personal responsibility, and also ending farm subsidies is another problem because all the subsidies, or at least most of them, go to the biggest agriculture companies. And the thing is, people just need to be more balanced and responsible. I mean, I don't have a problem with people eating meat or anything. I don't think you can control that. I don't think you should, quite frankly, because it's a personal choice. But you can encourage
50 billion cows that argue with that. You can
encourage. Well, it's personal choice for human beings, and then this right to life thing, we can debate that. But the point being is, you can encourage an environment where people are able to make more balanced and healthy choices. They choose fruits and vegetables, and for that matter, that they choose things that are sustainably grown. For example, the banana. Somebody mentioned the banana.
I mentioned bananas. I take credit.
The banana has been so bad on Central America, where most of those are grown, Central American, Caribbean. There's some states that say the banana is going to be extinct as we know it within the next 20 years because there's so many fungus problems and they overgrow them to mass produce them. And of course, you obviously know what's happened with the geopolitical system there in Honduras and Guatemala. They call them banana states. And it's been that way.
Is that because of bananas?
Yeah, there was like the Del Monte company, the Chiquita.
Banana Republic. But I'm saying, how are we different from Banana Republic?
Okay, speaking of banana, this directly correlates to and goes back to sustainability. Okay, in Iceland, and they're using their thermal vents to have greenhouses to grow their own bananas and tomatoes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is about the discussion about sustainability. That's the point. You have to be sustainable. I don't care if you're growing soybeans, corn, bananas,
or
a cow, a chicken, whatever it is.
It has to be sustainable.
But the thing is, look,
here's what I want to know, Scott. Like 2050 comes around, what happens?
The poorest people starve.
The poorest people starve to death in a lot higher rates than they do today. Basically, I mean, it's always the poorest. America won't be hit first; we'll be hit last.
Isn't that already the case? That the poorest people in the world
but a lot more of them will be dying, because there will be a lot more of them to die.
Look at what happened during the Dust Bowl.
And there will be spreading unrest, and eventually it'll spread here. I mean, civilization. It's in a lot of ways, it's a house of cards, man.
Well, I got some ideas on how
I've seen empty store shelves in my life, and we haven't
reversed the trend. And so, well, maybe we're not reversing, but it's definitely slow down. Something you can all consciously do, whether you're a vegan or a carnivore. You can consciously make an effort to eat food that is locally grown, because that's a less of a carbon footprint. That's first and foremost, and then you're adding to the economic sustainability of your area. If you opposed to going to
if your area is good for growing those crops, though.
Yeah, that's true. But if you can eat according to
your region
exactly. Also, and that helps out the overarching economy around you. And as opposed to going to Walmart or Kroger, go to your local farmers market.
What if I want to support the farmers of Chile?
Then you go to Kroger or Whole Foods. Or, there's an avenue for you to support that. I just don't see
why does it have to be in your local community? You could care about everyone else too.
But it's back to the environmental impact.
Yeah.
If that's your issue,
because of the carbon dioxide.
If that's your issue, and it's going to be a lot.
And also it's associated with a lot of things. I mean, Toledo back in 2014, all the way back there. Remember they had it was runoff from a lot of agriculture that caused the fucking algae to grow right off Lake Erie that fucked up the drinking water for Toledo. I'm from right in that area. I'm from down Lake Erie down the way, dude, and that fucked up drinking water. That's what happens, and that's what happened. I mean, it happens. That's why there's a dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico, because all our agriculture, dude. It's making huge dead zones. It's the number one leading cause of dead zones, carbon emissions. Water depletion, dude, so many things. And we don't pay the price for it because it's so subsidized, because these companies know the right people to buy. They don't spend a lot of money, but they know who to buy. They buy the right seats and the right, then they have some people buy the balls just because of their district. And they have all the jobs there. And so, presidential primaries, they start off in Iowa.
But these are multinational corporations. As grossly as they corrupt our government, just imagine what they're doing to Nigeria.
But
I'm just saying, we don't pay the price of it. Look, a hamburger should cost 10 times the price if you paid the real price of it. But it's so subsidized. All the feed for them is so subsidized. The grain, the corn is so subsidized that we don't pay the real price. So
there's surplus of grain and corn because they ever gray. But I think the thing is too is to what I think it was Ridgemont that made the point about eating food in your local area, because there's also health factors with that. The nation of Palau, which is a little tiny Pacific island close to Australia and stuff, they have the highest rate of obesity of any nation. And what happened to them was they put a military base there, and they got more exposed to Western diets and things like that. And they went from eating fish and their naturally occurring things around their island and fruits, things like that, to eating a lot of processed, imported Western food. So in addition to killing their economy by making people aren't buying local products anymore, it's also made them unhealthy and have diabetes and high blood pressure and all these kind of other problems. So when people get away from their regional appropriate diet, if you're in Vietnam, you might want to eat more seafood, versus if you're in northern Iowa, you might want to eat more corn. You're probably on meat and fish. Right. And if you do that, or at least you try to, it seems like it helps, because everything seems to be designed to properly work in a certain area.
All right, I want to wrap this up with a question for all you guys, real quick. Yes or no from everybody. So knowing the effects that animal agriculture has on the environment and sustainability and everything, and how it intersects with all these things, will you try to reduce a little bit your consumption of cattle or meat in general?
Yes.
I am fat as hell, so I need to reduce my intake of food. Period. I'm working on that myself. So.
Is that a yes?
I guess that's a yes. I will.
Joey.
think I'm gonna go to Burger King and think about it.
I think he needs to increase his.
I already do. So yeah, I mean, just be sustainable and be responsible is my final word
Make
on
a
this.
conscious effort to be sustainable. I think that would make a big impact. If more people, if 25% of the people in our society just decided to become more sustainable, that would have a great impact.
Absolutely.
That's Plutocracy Now. Out.